25 Ways to Suppress Truth. The Rules of Disinformation. By H. Michael Sweeney, 1997.
15. Fit the facts to alternate conclusions. This requires creative thinking unless the crime was planned with contingency conclusions in place. Example. The best definitive example of avoiding issues by this technique is perhaps Arlen Specter's magic bullet, from the Warren Report. Defense. You are avoiding the issue with disinformation tactics. Your imaginative twisting of facts rivals that of Arlen Specter's magic bullet in the Warren Report. We all know why the magic bullet was invented. Why do you refuse to address the issues by use of such disinformation tactics? 16. Vanish evidence and witnesses. If it does not exist, it is not fact, and you won't have to address the issue. Example. You can't say Paisley is still alive, that his death was faked, and the list of CIA agents found on his boat deliberately placed there to support a purge at CIA. You have no proof. Why can't you accept the police reports? Defense. There is no suitable response to actual vanished materials or persons, unless you can shed light on the matter, particularly if you can tie the event to a cover-up or other criminality. However, with respect to dialogue where it is used against the discussion, you can respond. You are avoiding the issue with disinformation tactics. The best you can say is that the matter is in contention based on highly suspicious matters which themselves tend to support the primary allegation. Why do you refuse to address the remaining issues by use of such disinformation tactics? 17. Change the subject. Usually in connection with one of the other ploys listed here, find a way to sidetrack the discussion with abrasive or controversial comments in hopes of turning attention to a new, more manageable topic. This works especially well with companions who can argue with you over the new topic and polarize the discussion arena in order to avoid discussing more key issues. Example. There were no CIA drugs and was no drug money laundering through Mena, Arkansas, and certainly, there was no Bill Clinton knowledge of it because it simply didn't happen. This is merely an attempt by his opponents to put Clinton off balance and at a disadvantage in the election because Bob Dole is such a weak candidate with nothing to offer that they are desperate to come up with something to swing the polls. Dole simply has no real platform. Response.
You idiot. Dole has the clearest vision of what's wrong with government since McGovern. Clinton is only interested in raping the economy, the environment, and every woman he can get his hands on. One naturally feels compelled, regardless of party of choice, to jump in defensively on that one.
Defense. You are avoiding the issue with disinformation tactics. You evade discussion of the issues by attempting to sidetrack us with an emotional response, a trap which we will not fall into willingly. If you truly believe such political rhetoric, please drop out of this discussion, as it is not germane unless you can provide concrete facts to support your contentions of relevance. Why do you refuse to address the issues by use of such disinformation tactics? 18. Emotionalize, antagonize, and goad opponents. If you can't do anything else, chide and taunt your opponents and draw them into emotional responses which will tend to make them look foolish and overly motivated, and generally render their material somewhat less coherent. Not only will you avoid discussing the issues in the first instance, but even if their emotional response addresses the issue, you can further avoid the issues by then focusing on how sensitive they are to criticism. Example. You are such an idiot to think that possible, or are you such a paranoid conspiracy buff that you think the government is cooking your pea-brain skull with microwaves, which is the only justification you might have for dreaming up this drivel. Now, wait for an emotional response, and then reply. Oh. I do seem to have touched the sensitive nerve. Tisk, tisk. What's the matter? The truth too hot for you to handle? Perhaps you should stop relying on the Psyche Friends network and see a psychiatrist for some real professional help. Defense. You are avoiding the issue with disinformation tactics. You attempt to draw me into emotional response without discussion of the issues. If you have something useful to contribute which defeats my argument, let's hear it, preferably without snide and unwarranted personal attacks, if you can manage to avoid sinking so low. Your useless rhetoric serves no purpose here if that is all you can manage. Why do you refuse to address the issues by use of such disinformation tactics? 19. Ignore proof presented, demand impossible proofs. This is perhaps a variant of the play dumb rule. Regardless of what material may be presented by an opponent in public forums, claim the material irrelevant and demand proof that is impossible for the opponent to come by. It may exist, but not be at disposal, or it may be something which is known to be safely destroyed or withheld, such as a murder weapon. To completely avoid discussing issues, may require you to categorically deny and be critical of media or books as valid sources, deny that witnesses are acceptable, or even deny that statements made by government or other authorities have any meaning or relevance. Example. All he's done is to quote the liberal media and a bunch of witnesses who are qualified. Where's his proof? Show me wreckage from Flight 800 that shows a missile hit it. Defense. You are avoiding the issue with disinformation tactics. You presume for us not to accept Don Phillips, reporter for The Washington Post, Al Baker, Craig Gordon or Liam Cleven, reporters for Newsday, Matthew Purdy or Matthew L. Wall, Don Van Natta Jr., reporters for The New York Times, or Pat Milton, wire reporter for The Associated Press, as being able to tell us anything useful about the facts in this matter. Neither would you allow us to accept Robert E. Francis, Vice Chairman of the NTSB, Joseph Canamessa Jr., Special Agent in charge of the New York office of the FBI, Dr. Charles Whitley, Suffolk County Medical Examiner, the pathologist examining the bodies, nor unnamed Navy divers, crash investigators, or other cited officials, including Boeing aircraft representatives, as a part of the crash investigative team, as a qualified party in this matter, and thus, dismisses this material out of hand. Good logic, about as good as saying 150 eyewitnesses aren't qualified. Only you are qualified to tell us what to believe? Witnesses be damned? Radar tracks be damned? Satellite tracks be damned? Reporters be damned? Photographs be damned? Government statements be damned? Is there a pattern here?
The previous video has been an unpaid public service announcement, brought to you by Anonymous. We are Legion. We do not forgive. We do not forget.